All right, welcome back. We're glad you're still with us. And now, from the hard talk now to family matters. And in studio with me is Dr. Catherine Mutisya from the Nairobi Parenting Clinic. Daktari, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
We want to discuss negative peer pressure. There's positive peer pressure? I thought peer pressure is just, one that we need to stay away from.
Actually, peer pressure can be both positive and negative. But of course, we worry more about the negative because of the effects which are expected with the negative peer pressure. Yes.
So let's talk about, young people as, they grow up, young kids as they grow up. At what point do they start picking up, that they're being influenced by, their peers, to do certain things? At what point do, as parents, should start worrying or, start, figuring out what do we do with, our young fellow?
Okay. Actually, peer pressure can start as early as school going age. That is from 6 years, 7 years of age. That's the time the child will realize that even the next, the seatmate is carrying a different snack for break. Mom is packing a healthy snack like a fruit, and then seatmate is carrying crisps or sweets. So that's the time they realize. They also realize that their seatmates might be having a different toy they don't have, and different game, especially with this time of electronics, of PS, PlayStations, and all that. But it is more dangerous at the time of adolescent, at the time of teenage, because that's the time they will experiment on drugs. That's the time they'll experiment on sex. That's the time they might even decide to be truant from school. And so it is most of the time felt more at the adolescent because the issues involved at teenage are more serious. Yes.
But where do we pick them up from, Dasha? Because I'm trying to understand from a parent who is doing their best to take their children to school. They give them the best of toys as they would imagine. They would give them the best of opportunities around and say, this is the best I've provided for my children. At what point would you as parents start getting the warning signs and say, well, this is really something is wrong with this child, is getting other influences away from your quarters?
Actually, right from early childhood, even when a child begins to speak, like the age of 2 years, parents need to communicate their expectations. They also need to teach the child self-control, such that, yes, you can want all sorts of toys in the supermarket or in the toy shop,
but
each one of us has a limit. You have to budget, because even you as a parent, you cannot afford to get every suit, every car in the market. So you need to talk to them. And we emphasize that parents need to spend a lot of time with their children. They talk with them. Even when they go to the supermarket, it's good you show them the list you have. This is what we are going to purchase. And it's good to explain why you can't pick everything in the supermarket. But again, you need to talk to children as early as possible. Talk to them about drugs, talk to them about sex, or talk to them about school, the importance of school, the importance of obeying rules. And that's why we say build the child's self-esteem very early. When you have praised your child and they have a good self-esteem and you've communicated to them your expectations, when they are forced by their peers to conform to negative things like skipping school, like smoking, or like going to the pub, to the bar, then they'll be able to say no and be able to still not feel bad about themselves. Yes.
But so the pressure is on parents to make sure that they're there for their children. But actually, in this day and age where, like you, this morning you're here, after you're going to work, and you pretty much practically in a week, during the weekday you won't have time with your child. You can't possibly be able to be there as you'd love to. How do you start gaining that? What is the best way for you to have a relationship with your child in this day and age so that you're able to pick up some of these things?
Yeah, we keep saying that you cannot say you love your child and you cannot create time for them. Actually, we say that love can be spelled T-I-M-E, that is time. You have to spend time with everybody you claim to love. So as a parent, you need to reorganize yourself, because we find that some parents who after work, they'll go for an evening class or they'll go for a social gathering. So you have to look at your priorities. And you can organize yourself such that by the time the children are coming to school, you can find them. Again, most of us will go to home and we carry our laptops, or you go and watch TV. Yes, you take work home and go and watch TV. When you come home after work, you can actually have time with your child. Again, you can delegate the non-essential things. Like you can have somebody make supper for you instead of you going to make supper, and spend time with your child. So everybody can reorganize themselves. And again, a child has two parents. So it's unlikely that both of them will be very busy at the same time. So you can organize, if one parent has to leave early, then the other one will be with them. And if one has to come late to work, from work, then the other one will be with them. But it's very important that you communicate your expectations. If you don't bond with your child, then it becomes very easy to just take in what their peers are giving them. But when you're bonded with them, they'll always come and clarify. Mom or dad, so and so said this and this. What do you think about this? Or they'll even share with you their experiences. You know, this is what happened in school. Somebody brought cigarettes. There was a search, and this is what was found, and such things. So as long as you bond with them, they'll come back to you. Yes.
So let's start from now. We're here right now, and you know, looking to a parent who has, you know, a child who is being influenced by, you know, other children, you know, in the estate and, you know, in school. And this parent, you know, just realized this now. What do you do? What is the first step? How do you start, you know, having a conversation, you know, with your child? What are the next steps?
Yeah, first of all, I want to emphasize that, again, if you're spending time with your child, you'll detect very early that the child is getting into negative behavior. For example, if you've been keen and you know the behavior of your child, when their behavior changes, like when they have taken a drug or they have taken alcohol, you'll be able to notice very early. Again, if they start coming home with things which don't belong to them, and you spend time with them, you'll be able to notice, this pen doesn't belong to you, where is it coming from? This toy doesn't belong to you, where is it coming from? Once you realize that, again, you need to sit with them and discuss. At the age of adolescent, you may need to give them one-on-one time, like take them out for coffee, discuss some of these issues. You may need to keep in touch with the teacher. Every parent needs to communicate with the teacher. When a teacher realizes that the parent is always keeping in touch and following up on the child, they also become very keen. So when you've discussed it with the teacher, again, avoid being overcritical, state your expectations and your rules, and put consequences. That if this happens again, this is going to be the consequence. And they should also be either have privileges denied as a result. For example, you allow them to go to the mall with their peers, maybe the older children, and they came home drunk, then you tell them, no, the next time you cannot go out unsupervised. There must be consequences. Expectations and rules must have been set out, and there must be consequences or loss of privileges when it actually happens.
Yes. Actually, I've had this argument, you know, that now in this time and age that we're living now, we are trying to raise, you know, the next generation in a different way that we have no idea, you know, how to raise it. You know, it's a Western way, you know, so they say, of raising, you know, children. I don't know how you raised that, but I'm sure you were not given expectations, you know, and limits, and you would know that if you coming from school at 4, at 4:30 you're at home.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it, you know. And you're not expected to be found in anywhere in a mall. No, not even in your neighbors, at your neighbor's house, you know, without your parents knowing that.
Yes.
So where did we drop the ball? Is this are we as a country, as a people, have we lost focus on how we were raised up with our rules and regulations? Where did we lose ball, or are we on the right track?
I think even our generation, the same was still communicated, but it might have been communicated by different people. You see, like in the olden days, even a neighbor, if they found a child who was coming from school and has deviated and has gone to the shopping center and probably smoking, they'll go and report, or even punish the child, or talk to the child, or even slap them. But these days, I mean, if you meet your neighbor's child, first of all, you don't know whether if you talk to them, or probably you don't even talk to your neighbor, or you don't even know the child. So our society has just changed. Before, it was the community could take responsibility.
Raised up by the community.
Again, the schools.
New things are working.
Yes.
Then to the next question, what are the responsibility of children? As a parent, what would you expect, you know, your children to do? I mean, after you have these issues, as you said, you have the rules, you have regulations, and they're followed, not followed. What are the responsibilities? What do you expect from your children?
Children need to be responsible. They need to make sure that they follow the rules which are set, because I'm assuming they will be explained why this rule is set. For example, if you cannot play in the road because you can be hit by a car. You cannot skip school because you will miss out on what was taught. Smoking is bad for your health. Again, alcohol, you can get addicted to alcohol. So they have a responsibility to actually obey these rules and make sure they create order in the society. If a child learns to obey rules even when they are young, even when they are employed or they are running their own business, they'll be able to understand the importance of order in the society. They'll be responsible, and we are the only ones to teach them. The parents are the only ones to teach them responsibility. You can't let them. A child will always test limit. Again, if a child doesn't learn how to test limit, then it means even when they grow old, if they are told do this, they'll just follow. So the ability to question is also good in a way, but they also need to know that as much as you are testing limit, you cannot go beyond this. We say that you should always know that dad and mom are the bosses. We can negotiate, we can be friends, we can laugh together, but when it comes to rules, there are certain things which you can't cross. Yes.
And Dr. How do you deal with extreme cases? Where we've all discussed this, the child is not coming back, they keep doing whatever they're doing, even going to extremes of drinking or coming home late or things. How do you deal with these extreme cases?
Actually, we advise parents to bring their children for assessment or to any mental health worker for assessment, because there are certain children who have conduct disorders. Those ones will need intensive therapy for them to change. You see, there are kids who will be caught doing the wrong things always. There are children who have what we call attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. They lack attention. So even when you are telling them, giving them the rules, they will not listen. When the teacher is talking to them, they are not able to keep attention, and they are hyperactive. So if you see that your child keeps being in problems, then you need to take them for assessment, because those disorders can be treated both with pharmacotherapy and also with psychotherapy. So if the behavior is too uncontrolled, then you need to take the child for assessment. Yes.
That's a final question for me. For parents who are watching this morning and they say, I'm starting to detect a few things with my children here and there. I'm not completely, I can't have a conversation with them. We have, communication breakdown. How would you advise them to start this process? Whatever the stages they are, whether it's the beginning, in the middle, or in the end, it's an extreme case. How do you advise these parents who are watching and are thinking, where do I start with this case?
I would advise them, first of all, to talk to their teacher. A child spends time at home and with the teacher. Find out from the teacher whether they are also concerned. You see, there is the normal growing of a child, which is expected. So if you're concerned and the teacher of the child also says they are concerned, then you have a reason to worry, and you probably need to take them for review and for evaluation to actually see whether it is something you're doing wrong, it is a change in the school, or it's a change at home, or it is something which will need even medication or psychotherapy. Yes.
Daktari, nashukuru sana. Thank you very much for making time with us this morning.
Yes.
All right, I've been talking to Dr. Catherine Mutisya, and we're talking about negative peer pressure, and you've heard what you need to do. We need to have a conversation, with our children. We need to understand them. We need to set the limits and set the rules. That does it for NTV Lifestyle.